With that said, we're gonna start recording. Are there any maybe kind of questions or anything that we kind of want to get into? There's something that I definitely want to share. And so we'll be monitoring the chat as we go along, and we'll also have time for folks to kind of have like an open forum. Um, with that, I just want to just say last LILi show and tell was amazing. We had the opportunity to have a wonderful speaker come and present, and there was like just ample time for Q&A. But I want to say if we want to if we run out of things that we want to share in this space, we can definitely build upon that, maybe that continuing conversation of what was happening last time. If there's things that, we want to continue and we don't have time, or if we don't have things that we, have prepared today to share. So I'm just curious, is there anything that folks have prepared today? If not, that's okay, because we have things that we want to share with you. So I'm just gonna kind of let you kind of marinate on that thought. Ding says she does. Okay, wonderful. So definitely Ding will share, if that's okay, after the thing that I plan to share today. So if you have anything that there's something that you want to share later on, we'll have time for that. Okay. All right. So if I may, I would like to share with you what I have prepared for today's session. So give me 1 second, because I want to share with you a Padlet. So I'm going to place that in the chat. So give me 1 second. This Padlet is not just any Padlet. It's an activity that was actually done at one of our LILi board meetings. And it was kind of like an icebreaker activity that I had kind of started to kind of help LILi board members kind of build solidarity and kind of learn about one another. Oftentimes, I don't know if you feel similarly, when we join different committees, sometimes it's hard to like initially feel trust or comfortable with everybody, right? Because that's something that you build with time. And so I was thinking like, what is one thing that we can do, because we're all here for the same reason, right? Because we have a passion for lifelong information literacy. But how can we kind of share in a way that isn't going to take like all day, right? But that could be as a space where we can feel confident to share something that we care about and move forward. And so the name of this icebreaker is called kind of like, what's that one thing, right, that you really are burning to like work on and continue working on. And so what folks did was they just added their thoughts to this Padlet. And I'd like to also offer that for you today. So I want to ask you if you feel comfortable, and you could delete it after if you don't want it to live here. What is one thing that you really want to work on for this year? So you'll notice that this was kind of back in the beginnings of November 2020, right? But now that we're in 2021, what's one thing that you think that you'd really want to like work on, right? And as if you're like me, I have like a million to-do projects that exist on my desk, but oftentimes we don't have time to do that. So if I'd like to give you like about 5 minutes or maybe even 1 to 2 minutes, and then I'll present on the one thing that I wanted to work on. And I have some really great news to kind of share and updates with you to share. So yeah, this is perfect. I see folks are kind of like writing into the Padlet. So let's go ahead and just kind of jump into the Padlet. And I want to invite you to think about that. What is one thing that you really want to work on this year? A passion project, something that you really want to work on. So I'm going to give you all maybe just like a kind of like 1 minute or 2 minutes to kind of reflect on that. You'll have ample time throughout this whole LILi space to work on this. And maybe, ironically, maybe as we present, as Ding presents or other folks present, maybe a project will arise with you, right? Or resonate with you. While folks are typing, I'm gonna go ahead and share something so you can see what my project was. For those of you who maybe want to just listen, and that's fine. The project that I really wanted to work on was my Wikipedia work at my campus, and I'll share a little bit more in a little bit. But if you want to review an example, you can look at my entry, where it says Eva's One Thing, and it's where it says Wikipedia and assignments and programming. So if you need more of an example, you can look at that one as well. All right. For folks who are just joining us, I'll just kind of share what we're doing here. We're basically thinking about what is a project that we want to work on for this year, a passion project, and we're putting it in this Padlet. All right. I see some really great ideas that are coming from folks here. I noticed that some folks are interested in collection development work, some trends in IL. I noticed some folks are really passionate about equity work. And then some folks want to learn how to create real LibGuides. And I think that would be an interesting conversation to learn more about like what you mean real means, right? Would anyone like to elaborate on some of the things that they shared here? And then I can also jump into what I wanted to share today too, and why I decided to use this Padlet for today's conversation. Okay, that's okay if you don't, we'll have time later. I'm just gonna grab the chat. Ding has been helpful in placing the Padlet for folks who wanna add to the Padlet. Let's see, Jonathan's sharing that they have experience creating LibGuides and would be willing to help anyone. So that's perfect, right? This is a great opportunity to connect with folks. So feel free to connect with Jonathan Underwood. All right. So thank you so much for kind of adding to that. I know like you could feel some pressure about thinking about what that one project is, but I'm sure we all have a lot of interests and goals. And so the reason, again, for folks who are just joining us, that this Padlet was kind of came to life was that it was a way to kind of build just kind of like, solidarity with other librarians and the LILi board, because it was served as an icebreaker. But I want to just share that there's something powerful about writing things down, right? Even if it's in a virtual space. And especially I have found that, and I'll share more about my project in a moment, that when I shared this here, some really amazing things actually transpired this actually today, in the past couple of days. And so there was something about coming back to this today and being able to share with you some updates as far as the one thing that I wanted to work on. So my one thing that I really wanted to work on for this year, and of course there are many things, was to think about how I could use Wikipedia with some other faculty on my campus. to really foster information literacy and also include some components of equity work. And so Art Plus Feminism is one of the campaigns in Wikipedia, and a colleague of mine actually, Kai from MIT Libraries, shared, kind of got me into like, what are the possibilities of using Wikipedia? And so today I learned that my colleague and I, we applied for a grant and we actually got it. We actually got the grant from the Wikimedia Foundation. And what we'll be doing is a series of different events that are going to be supporting her class and my class, and she's an art history professor. And of course, I teach, library research on my campus. And we'll be hosting a series of events with 2 Wikipedia edit-a-thons. And so I was really happy to learn that today. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm getting phone calls. Hold on 1 second. My apologies. The dog barked and then the phone rang simultaneously. Everything was happening. Let me look in the chat. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. So my point is, again, is that there's something about writing something down and then coming back to it, right? And seeing how it can really come to fruition. And so that was kind of my goal for this Padlet. And ironically, there's some movement and traction on it. And so, yeah, that was basically what I wanted to share with you all today, is that how can we, even the personal things that we're working on, or even if it's just a thought or an idea, and then how we share that with our community and come back to it and continue to work on it and learn from each other and share with each other. So that's basically what I wanted to share for today's show and tell. Give me 1 moment. I'm going to check the chat. I totally echo what Esther is sharing. I'll just read it out loud. It helps a lot to write down what you want people to learn from your instruction before getting into the details. Exactly, right? The lesson planning portions, or even just the ideation portions. All right. So we are now in our open show and tell portion. I think Ding mentioned she wants to share anything, but I want to just invite you all. Maybe even if you didn't come prepared to share anything, but maybe the Padlet inspired you with maybe a thought or something. We noticed that we've just built some connections here through the idea of LibGuides too. So also, is there something that you want to, a resource that you want to share about, or you're thinking about sharing about? Do you have any tips, right, for selecting or evaluating tools? Or any other questions or thoughts that you want to share in regards to teaching or online learning, or anything that you feel comfortable talking about. So marinate on that as I'm going to stop sharing my screen and Ding is going to get into her portion. So thanks so much for taking some time to listen to my share, and I'll pass it over to Ding.
Thank you, Erwa. Hey everyone, Ding again. So I'm gonna actually share 2 things at my institution, California State University, Northridge. I'm gonna be sharing one very successful thing that we tried out last fall, and not very successful thing, so that you can see, you can get a holistic view of what's going on my campus. So the first thing that's very successful is how we were able to really integrate a lot of library learning materials into Canvas, our learning management system. And I think 2 things really helped. So I'll be sharing my screen and show you actually how it looks like. So, as you can see, this is a research toolkit course. I believe many of your campuses have tried this before, but for this new learning management system, it's our first time, and we were focusing a lot more on individual modules before the pandemic. And it was really during the pandemic, we started to think about the need to create a independent public library course for students. So they can actually have a one-stop shop for all the types of materials we offer, like learning modules, interactive activities. And also it provides us with the autonomy to actually manage and monitor the progress of students, and also the layout, which you can see. It's another thing we try out to make it very clear that when they're on this page, and when a student on this page, they have different options, and we really want to guide them into different types of modules we have. And one highlight you can see we have library orientation, we have specific course modules, which were very helpful when we reach out to specific instructors. But what really helped, I think, with the success is the library badge system that we piloted this fall. So I'm going to be clicking on that. You can see we sort of making this experience of navigating the canvas like a game, so that they could actually see different topics, not only in their own classes or the topics that are assigned by their instructors, but also what's going on in other classes. Those are different topics. I think those are very common topics. I believe many of your institutions are using as well, but we also have some unique topics, including this one. Let me enlarge it a little bit. It's understand and engage your communities. Remember, last year was the election year. We were actually able to collaborate with our Office of Civic Engagement to implement this module that focused on, let me click on that. Different topics, including specific databases like policy maps, so they can actually use library resources to understand their community, but they're also information on how they can get involved with census. Again, what happened last year, and some of the another Padlet, actually right here, for them to see how they can get involved in the community. And those are all, not most of them were added by actually specific students. You can see some of them even added something in the area, in LA, or in other parts of the country. So really reframing this Canvas course not as just a learning or a information literacy learning opportunity, but to think about this as a civic engagement or community opportunity for students to collaborate or just interact with each other. That really helped us to get a lot of interest in our tools, our resources, and the partnership with departments other than the specific subjects, but actually other offices on campus. It really helped us. And the badge idea seemed to really work well. I was very nervous when we first thought about this, but last semester we got over 4,000 badges awarded to students, which was a huge success and a very a dramatic increase from what we had before. Because when we were only doing those individual modules on finding sources or evaluating sources, we got about like hundreds of courses implementing them. But when we started doing this public course with badges, we got a lot more feedback from our students and just more collaborations between the library and other offices on campus. And I do want to show you some feedback from students. And thank you. Let me take a look at the chat actually. Yeah, stickers for grown-ups. Exactly, Lisa. Because I was starting to think about this only because I started to collect some badges for other professional organizations. So, and Esther is asking, does badge completion show up in student transcripts? That's a great question. So we started piloting this as just part of the library outreach efforts, but the extended learning college on our campus just told us that they're actually thinking about purchasing the pro version of the badging system. So let me show you. After we look at the feedback, and I'll be showing you what we are using for the badging, which is a free tool. That's why I do want to share it now. So you can see those are some feedback from students, and those are, many of them are from the remote learning period. Some are from previous semesters, but those two specifically for the remote learning period. So they are very happy with learning about resources even when they're off campus, which very encouraging. And I'll be going back to our homepage. of the Canvas site, and just to share with you the link in the chat, so you can take a look and kind of play around with that. You do need to be a seasoned student to be enrolled in the course, or a seasoned instructor, but most of our modules are in Canvas Commons. So if you are using that system, you will be able to integrate that. But what I wanted to show you is our badge system. So let me click on that. So we are using Badger. Let me tap in the chat. So Badger is the free tool that we use to assign those badges. And basically you just create different badges and attach that to specific modules based on requirements you set. We have some modules that do not have badges, like the citation help modules, but that's what it looks like on the back end. And then you can see the progress of different students. And there's a way to generate reports out of specific badge, because sometimes a professor may ask for either proof or evidence of completion from students. So what we have been doing is just to ask students to actually submit like a screenshots of their badge, although they do receive emails as well, which they can use as proof of completion for some modules. I see more questions. Let me see.
Ding, would you like me to answer the question?
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Esther's asking, how many units is this course? And is this semester long or compressed into half a semester?
Thank you. So sorry for the confusion. It is not a specific course. This is not like a for credit course. It is really like a Canvas version of library's website. So you can see people can come here to do their library orientation. So that's part of our outreach efforts. It's not for a course. It's really just a tool, a platform for us to integrate different information there. So that's for library orientation. This is actually part of our outreach efforts, not for a specific course. Same thing for the civic engagement module. No course was really using that as part of the official library session, but people were just using that. I think that some faculty are interested in that topic, and then they are just assign this as an assignment, or extra credit. But there are, you can see things for specific courses. Not many of them are using them, but our pilot was focusing a lot more on our freshman seminar U100, and also our English writing. So the freshman writing classes, that's 130, 140, that's the course numbers. So we focus a lot more on the freshman courses as a pilot, and we are kind of expanding them to more upper division courses this semester. But you can see it's not for one course, it's just a site that students will be enrolled and to navigate through different information and to actually see what's going on in other classes. And actually a lot of students from other classes are completing modules in theater, in kinesiology, which is very interesting. Yeah, I was very surprised to see that, yeah. Yes, Angela, a MOOC although only available to seasoned students when it comes to enrollment, because I created this out of our institutional Canvas site. So I know it could not be, other people outside the season cannot be enrolled in this, although we do make the modules available, just not the class system. So only seasoned will be able to enroll. Let me actually stop sharing. And I know there are more questions. I love Mary's idea of connecting to other learning outcomes on Canvas, like events. Yeah, exactly. Ideally, as I mentioned, for civic engagement, so if there's an event, something, or like attend an event or attend a workshop, and then we can give them badges and encourage them to attend a series of other events on the same topic. Yeah, there are a lot of possibilities of this. Okay, I think that's all the questions in the chat. Are there more questions? Because I'm going to be sharing a unsuccessful thing we tested out, which really excited to see what you think. Yeah, exactly. I love the idea of campus learning outcomes. Okay, so our unsuccessful pilot is this thing right here. I'm going to be sharing that in the chat. So I will not be sharing the screen because it's a very simple thing we tested out, which is the librarian Zoom hour. So the idea was for us to think about what are some better ways to interact with students other than the chat service we have. So on our campus, we've been staffing our lab chat system every day and also on the weekend, which is very helpful. We've been receiving a lot of questions. However, we thought it would be great to actually have some face-to-face interactions via Zoom with students. So we actually started with the idea of offering workshops to students. And that semester we tested out with, I think, about 8 workshops, which have very low attendance. And then this semester, we thought maybe it's just too much for students to think about beyond their classes or beyond their library instruction sessions specific to the courses. So we started to do something simpler, which is this library Zoom hours. And the idea was to have 3 hours of Zoom office hours every week and staffed by different librarians. And we just promote it to different students, including the students enrolled in the Canvas course I showed earlier. And we also market to different departments, have a banner on our website, have things on social media. Anyway, we really trying to push it to students to make sure that they know that we are here, we are on Zoom. We are just like professors offering those office hours to them. However, so far, we started this in early February. So far, we have 1 student show up on the Sunday, although we did have a faculty member reach out to ask if we have more throughout the semester. But that's basically how it has been going so far. And I've heard on another campus, they've tried a lot of ways to promote this as well, and it has not been successful at all. So just sharing, that's something that's not very successful. We are continuing this semester just to see maybe there's a difference when midterms come, when final weeks hit. I'm just not sure what's going to be happening for this. Yeah, as they're saying, maybe students are tired of Zoom. That might be one reason. But yeah, just sharing so that think twice if you are thinking about this too.
Yeah, I've noticed on my campus that we've been talking about it. It seems like the first week is really heavily utilized, and then but we won't have as many Zoom appointments, but we'll have a lot of chat. So it looks like it could be like a week to week kind of a thing semester, depending on papers and so forth.
Thank you, Vanessa. Esther suggesting some catchy title. Thank you. Oh, Tracy, you said your Zoom reference has gone pretty well. Would you like to share? Actually, it's the first time I heard a successful Zoom reference practice.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. One of the things that I think might have made it more successful is that when people click on the way that we staffed it was behind the scenes. So we didn't tell people who was available when. It was just a part of staffing chat reference. You knew that you also needed to be Zoom ready when you were staffing chat. And we gave students the option that they could either continue to work with us via chat, or they could go to a Zoom room that was available to them. And so we gave them that choice. And I think that might have made a difference because there were people who just bypassed chat and went straight to Zoom. And we had some people who were, repeat customers who would like try and come at the same time because they liked working with a particular person or that kind of thing. So that may have had impact on it, the way that we had it set up. So you can stick with chat if you want chat, or if you want to see somebody and talk in real time, you can do that too. So I don't know if that was why it worked better for us, but I mean, it wasn't a ton of use, but I thought it was pretty successful. And we had some students who really appreciated it.
Thank you. That's a fantastic idea. I haven't really thought about integrating this together and providing them with options.
Yeah.
And oh, Jonathan's asking me about stats compared to lab chat. I believe at least last semester, our chat has been popular throughout the semester. That's the reason why I think that gave us the confidence that we were thinking this is definitely going to be successful if you provide Zoom, which not turned out to be the case. So thank you, Tracy, for the suggestion. Linda said, oh, your campus offering Zoom during chat too. Well, is that a feature to set up within lib chat, or do you actually just create the language? Okay, people are nodding. Thank you. I'll explore more about the technical side of things. This is very helpful. Thank you, everyone. And Sean is suggesting lib call. Yeah, we should use that better on our campus. It's not something very popular on our campus at the moment. I like your old typing in the chat. As is sharing, yeah, integrating Zoom with phone, with answers, just using them all together. Thank you, Eva, for the contact. I'll be reaching out to you. And I think that's all I have to share. It looks like people are talking about this topic, a lot of experience on your campus too.
Thanks, Ding. Let's see. Is there anything else that maybe you wanted to talk about on that, or should we jump to some other folks that may want to? Yep. Okay, sounds good. So I'll just quickly share my screen again for those who kind of need like a reminder about what the possibilities are. And again, the possibilities could be anything that you want to talk about. But here's kind of like a jump starter to what things that you may want to share. So maybe a resource that you've created, or something that you want to create, tips, evaluation, media tools, or any other things. So if there's anyone who wants to kind of jump in, please let us know. You could just unmute or let us know via chat.
Hi, Ava. This isn't an instruction, but if no one has anything else to add, I wanted to mention that at UCLA, what used to be the Graduate School of Education and Information Studies has now dropped the word graduate, because they have an undergraduate major in education in addition to their minor that they've had for about 10 years. And hopefully, I've talked about this before, there'll be an approval of a joint undergrad minor in information and media literacy approved in the spring soon, like, I don't know, in a couple months. And at the moment they're interviewing, this is just quickly, they're interviewing 4 candidates for dean of the School of Education and Information Studies. So I've been going to those open sessions, and there's 2 more this week. No, 1 more this week, 1 more next week. And it's pretty interesting. And I'll report back when they pick somebody. There is an interim person who is also one of the candidates, Tina Christie. But that's it, if anyone's interested in that.
Thanks, Esther. Very interested in that. And it's always wonderful to hear like what's happening on other people's campuses. Somehow we're all interconnected. So let's see. I see we have another friend of ours who wants to present, Jonathan Underwood. So yeah, feel free to just talk to us about LibGuides. And I know that can definitely help some other folks who said that they were interested in that from the Padlet.
Okay, cool. I'm going to share a screen here. So I want to show you, this is one of the LibGuides that we put together because of course we all know that our students struggle with citation formats. And I put this one together for APA. And what I tried to do was to integrate the PDF version, say like the changes to the APA 7th edition. We put a scrollable version right here, but we also told them, hey, you know, if you want to see a bigger version of this, you can do that. And then you can, it is big or as small as you need it. And we also, what I tried to do is set up a certain format for all of the LibGuides so I can create a lot of content that is prevalent in all of the LibGuides, such as information on plagiarism and guide to writing a research paper, finding journal articles, and of course my contact information. Excuse me. But one of the things that we also tried to do is include the PDF versions of, you know, sample papers so that the students, excuse me, can access this information, because sometimes they see the citation, but it's a lot easier for them to be able to see and touch the paper and have it actually done, like the in-text formatting or the how to cite the reference page on the APA. But we also try to ensure that we put videos in our LibGuides as well. And these are really easy to do. Out of all of the things that you can put on a LibGuide, really posting videos is one of the absolute easiest things you can do, because you're just copying basically the code and pasting it. And then the video is there in your LibGuide. And as you search through the YouTube, you can find a lot of great content that people are, you know, willing to allow you to use. And you can also, one of the really nice things about the LibGuides is when you go into actually create a LibGuide, if you go into this portion here, you can use what's called content from other guides that you've done. When you create a guide, you can start fresh. You can copy content from another guide. Say if you have a friend on another campus who is, or at a university who's done something that you really love, then you could borrow their content. You could just click on the community guide and then type in something that you're looking for. And so if I was looking for, say, APA format, it would search and it would right here. And so if I wanted to use this, it lets me know that the person that I'm borrowing this information from is going to be notified that I'm using this information. But what I like to do personally is email the individual and let them know that, hey, I saw this content. Can I have your permission to use this on my LibGuide? So not only do I try to use the content, but I also have a trail or a record of having their getting their approval of being able to use that content. So it makes it easier for me to be able to integrate their really awesome stuff into my LibGuide and trying to give credit as well. So thanks. And I really enjoy building these. And one of the other things, let me go back here. Like I said, I do a lot of, I have like a standard format because I've done many of the LibGuides here. So I have also done one for our library orientation, and I've broken down like our library system, the hours, things that are on the first floor, the second floor, the third floor, et cetera, and sharing about different types of information that they can access. Oh, that'd be cool for the extra content. So, I mean, you can also hide information, like we don't have a learning resource center anymore. So if you're working on the LibGuide and you've already published it, you can add folders and hide the content until you're ready to show it to everyone else. It's just a matter of going here and changing making a quick format from show to do not show. And you can also copy pages that will help you be able to use content from one LibGuide to the next. So if I wanted to use, say, the same contact information and feedback, then what I can do is I can just go in here and make one adjustment, say, to my office hours and change the semester. And then it changes it for all of the LibGuides. So that really makes content sharing so much easier when you know that you can copy the information instead of having to do it every single time. And I learned that the hard way. When I started creating LibGuides, I didn't copy the content and I went and did it in each LibGuide. And man, you talk about an incredible headache. It's much easier just to copy. It's like copy cataloging. You're using the same content, but you can put it in all these different LibGuides. And so again, it just makes it easier for the students to be able to find the information, because again, we like to create a type of one-stop shop so that when the students are finding information, they don't have to struggle to say, well, I wish I could find this information on APA or whatever I'm looking for. Say, we also, with all of this, we were looking at the Mueller investigation, and we went ahead and put all of this, a lot of content about that, and created that as a LibGuide and put the executive summaries as well as the whole reports on the LibGuide. So it really made it a lot easier. So I'm gonna look at these, got a few in the chat. Yeah, well, the PDF of the APA guide came from the online writing lab. So what I do is I make sure that I put that into the comment section so that everybody can see where the content came from. So it just makes it easier, and that way, you know, our content is the same as theirs, because like I said, we like to put all of the content in one place so they're not going from here and there and everywhere trying to find information. So anybody have any questions? I'd be happy to take questions. Yeah, somebody's got a question here. Let's see. Oh, very good. Thank you for this. Esther, I'm gonna take a look at that. Oh yeah, that's great content. So, all right, well, that's all I've got, unless anybody else has any questions. I'll click on that, Esther, and see and take a look at that.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Oh, you're
That's
welcome.
awesome. It's really
Thanks.
great to see what you've been working on your campus or have worked on.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun working on the LibGuides. And what's great too, just, I don't know if you're aware, but SpringShare has a lot of training videos that you can access. And they have, like, if you go to Google and say SpringShare community, you can get a lot of ideas and content from other librarians who have created different LibGuides. And I've only had like one or two, one because it was a software vendor. They really didn't want to share a lot of their content, but they were able to share some. And I thought that was very gracious of them to share it at all, because I mean, it's sometimes they can be really proprietary, and that, you know, the fact that they were able to do that makes life happy on our end, because we got now we have all of these resources we can share with our students about using some of these research tools.
Definitely, I think, and that's what the main purpose of these guides are for, right? Is to support learners and folks that want access to the information that'll support their learning. So thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
I wanted to just ask Angela if you have a moment, because I think there was, you talked about the LibGuide for an anti-racism LibGuide. And I think that was also an event that Dial did. Is that correct?
Sorry, it took me a minute to unmute. No, there isn't an event, but there is one being planned.
Okay,
I
okay.
think for June or July. Not quite sure if we've narrowed down the date. But
Would you like to share more about that in the guide?
about the conference, it's in the very earliest stages of planning, but the idea is to get all of the interest groups of Carl together to talk about racial justice and anti-racism and related topics as it applies to their interest groups. So Skill would talk about it as it connects to instruction. Carl Dig would talk about it as it relates to reference services and so on. In terms of the guide, it's really a team effort and I think beautifully created. If I recall correctly, I think it was Alexis who designed it and turned, like the tabs green and things like that. Nicolette, sorry, is the one who put together the organization. So she came up with the different tabs, the different categories. And then the rest of us just typed in a bunch of different content. We went throughout the web and looked for different things. One of the ones that I'm really impressed by is if you go into the anti-resources or anti-racism resources tab, there's a really beautiful Padlet that Dr. Nicole Cook created that has anti-racism resources for all ages. And you can tell she put a ton of work into it. And the colors, everything just, I don't know, came together beautifully.
Thanks, Angela. I noticed you put it in the chat so we can all take a look at it later.
This is really good. It's a really great guide, and you're right. You tell that she put a lot of time into the resources.
See, so it looks like we have about 7 minutes left. I don't know if you wanted to share more, Angela, or because we do have the link, but it's okay if you don't. But so we can grab it and take a look at it. Let's see if others want to jump in, or of course, I welcome. I think Esther mentioned she's interested, or if Angela, you wanted to share more. We have some time to do so.
I'm happy to give the space to Esther.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, I don't know if people are interested in seeing more about citations, but we do have this very pretty popular citing your sources guide at Pierce. Let me just have to get to it. Hang on just a second. Okay, I can try sharing my screen, which has a lot of stuff on it, but let's see. Okay, there, share. So can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just an example, but 3 of us worked on, oops, I'm gonna get rid of that chat pop out, which is actually works pretty well. So I just wanted to click on this so you could see what it looks like. The 3 of us worked on this guide, and we had previously had a guide to citing not for APA 7th, but for 6th and MLA as well, in a separate guide for in-text. We combine them because students get confused, at least at the community college level, with what is an in-text citation, when would you use it, how does it look, how is it different from a reference or bibliography citation. So we have several different formats. And it isn't every single type of reference that you would make, but it's enough to hits the most important ones. And it's pretty common, but I think when you get to government documents, that's a little different. And Marissa Deal, who is a lawyer as well. Well, she has a law degree as well as an MLIS and teaches criminal justice as well as an online information literacy course at Pierce, did this part. And so I was really happy that she was willing to do it, because it's confusing, especially for anybody, but also especially for community college students, as to how to cite government documents. So we put our names down here for the 3 of us that created this guide, and it has a CC license of BY, meaning just provide attribution. If you want to use it, you can adapt it for yourselves, that's fine. And the same is true for the other guides that we have, MLA 7th, 8th, APA 6, Chicago, Turabian, and we're going to be adding a similar guide for ASA that we create ourselves. And I'll just show you the MLA 8th guide is a little bit different. Let's see. Anyway, so this is a little bit different. This is not entirely created by Pierce. I don't remember who created this one. I don't see an attribution here, but I didn't do this one, so I don't know. But anyway, so we're going to be doing, it's annoying, isn't it? ASA pretty soon, because there's more and more demand for it from students. So that's about it. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but in order to get to this directly, you go to the library homepage and then to subject guides, and talking about LibGuides. Our library homepage is a LibGuide, and we have subject guides, one for each academic department, and then research guides, and then also research scheduler, which includes this one I did, which includes an assignment calculator. I've talked about this before. And this is adapted from the University of Minnesota's open assignment calculator. And you can pick a subject area if you want to. This is designed for Pierce. Everything in it is the same except for step 6, and the formatting is off, and for some reason they haven't fixed it. But in step 6, the link goes to the LibGuide for that academic discipline or department. So that's the only thing that changes if you pick a subject area. You can pick a start date and an end date for your assignment, and then these dates change. So it calculates it for you. In the original University of Minnesota assignment calculator, you can sign up to get email reminders, but that's a little more complicated to program, and so we weren't able to do that. But we were finally able to integrate it into LibGuides by converting to, what's the name of that? Anyway, we had to redo the programming so that it wasn't PHP, because they don't allow you to link to PHP. But if you want to copy it, feel free. It's really from University of Minnesota. So that's just kind of a quick overview of some of our LibGuides and what might be useful to others. Any questions from anybody? No, I can.
Thanks so much, Esther.
Sure.
It looks like we might be at time,
Sure.
but I want to thank you so much for sharing. And I think you placed the link in the chat, so we can grab that and folks can definitely contact you or follow up with any of the folks that have shared. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today at today's LILi Show and Tell. I also want to just let you know that we are going to be having another virtual fully online conference that will be coming up, and more details will be coming out about that soon. And please do stay in contact or think about presenting or getting involved also in the LILi, just LILi membership, leadership as well. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, everybody.
Ava and
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye, Jonathan.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Lauren.
You're welcome.
Michelle. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Tracy. Bye, Mona. Michelle.